Morgan has been a reoccurring name in the headlines lately for a handful of reasons. One of these reasons being that she's so misused, and WWE doesn't seem to have a clue on what to do with her anymore. Fans have been patiently waiting for something to be done with Liv Morgan, but it could be time to face the fact that WWE just isn't going to do anything big with her. As we even saw on Raw, WWE is teasing a possible reunion with Ruby Riott. Even though some may find that interesting, I can't help but see it as a big step in the wrong direction for both Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. We already saw them as a team. They already been there, done that, so what's the point in linking them back up together? Especially when a few months ago, Ruby Riott was talking about how Liv was so weak and how she had to get rid of her, and now a few weeks later, she wants to team up with Liv again? I think both Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott should be competing for the Raw Women's title or just competing in regular singles competition. Pairing them back up just seems like a step backwards instead of a step forward for the both of them. I'm just not too sure about this team getting back together, but we will point out the positives about that reunion later on. It doesn't stop there. WWE apparently got Liv Morgan a bit heated in a whole separate way recently. Raw featured Liv Morgan versus Natalya, and for the most part, Liv Morgan got in 0 offensive moves. It looked like the Liv Morgan from a few years ago, where she would just get dominated by her opponents in a few minutes. However, it turns out that there was actually a lot of spots from this matchup that were cut and edited out by WWE. WWE sort of snitched on themselves after posting pictures of the Liv Morgan and Natalya match with spots that we didn't see during the television version of the match. The pictures featured Liv Morgan getting in some actual offense on Natalya, something that we didn't see in the actual match. So why is that? Why did Liv Morgan have all of her offense edited out of the match? If I had to take a guess, I would say that it could be because of the direction WWE is taking Liv Morgan. They probably want to tell the story that Liv Morgan is on this whole miserable losing streak and can't even do any offensive moves in her match. They just want to make it look like Liv is getting dominated, and this will probably lead to Liv realizing that she does need to link back up with Ruby Riott. She needs someone to back her up since she's getting destroyed in the ring lately. That would be my reason on why they didn't want to show Liv actually performing some moves on Natalya. But on the other hand, if they just remove some of Liv's big moves because they were forced to trim down the show for timing reasons or something like that, then that's a whole different story. That's actually pretty messed up. Liv Morgan addressed the situation and straight up called out WWE on Twitter. Liv had this to say: "Thank you for posting photos of what you cut out of my match, I guess. Appreciate it, WWE." So, telling by Liv's word, it really makes us think, was the editing of Liv's moves done for no reason? I sort of get the feeling from Liv's tweet, because if they were trying to tell a story of Liv getting squashed, then I think WWE would instruct Liv not to get any real offense done in the match. But the fact that we clearly see Liv putting in some offense in these deleted spots makes it look like she wasn't given the instructions to not get any offense in. Liv didn't delete that tweet calling out WWE, but she did follow up with another tweet that seemed related to the whole situation. Liv tweeted out this message shortly after her previous tweet. She had this to say: "Liv, if you have nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut." So it looks like Liv could be referring to the fact that she just finished calling out WWE on Twitter. Honestly, Liv Morgan doesn't have much to lose by calling out WWE. They were already unfortunately treating her like nothing anyway, so maybe calling them out was the right call here for her to make. Liv's tweet also opened up a lot of eyes about WWE's current television product. Obviously, the show isn't live anymore. Each show is done several days in advance, and they are extremely heavily edited to WWE's liking. So if they don't like a certain spot in a match, don't like a certain line someone used in a promo, they can easily trim it out of the show and keep it moving. And in Liv's case, they're also editing out the superstars' moves. Getting in the ring is always high risk for the superstars. They're putting their bodies on the line with each move they do. So to put yourself on the line for these big moves, just for them to be edited out in post-production, could really leave a superstar with a bad taste in their mouth. Which is exactly Liv Morgan's situation here. You work hard to perform these moves and they get edited out. It can really take away someone's motivation for when they're in the ring. Maybe they won't pull off these big moves anymore because they feel like, hey, what's the point? It'll probably be edited out anyway. So you're really going to make them hold back a bit on what they do in the ring because they're always going to have the thought in the back of their heads of, what if this gets edited out? That's a thought that will be running through Liv's head a lot now, since she's already been through that situation. That's a part about live shows that make it even more amazing. All these promos and wrestling matches are being done live on the spot, with no do-overs and no edits. That's how the business always worked. But obviously, for reasons out of WWE's control, live shows are no longer a possibility. So now they're constantly doing do-overs on promos and retakes for matches. Just look at Edge's injury. It was reported that Edge and Randy Orton ran through their match with no issues. Edge was injured during one of the several retakes of certain spots in the match. Edge's injury is a perfect example of why you don't want to risk all these retakes and do-overs. We get it. WWE is probably trying to perfect their show. But by doing these same spots over and over because you don't like how it looks, you're only increasing the odds of getting a superstar seriously injured. So that's definitely the downside to the pre-tape shows. You have a lot of superstars doing retakes or certain parts in the match, or in Liv's case, you have them performing the moves, but you're just removing them and not letting the fans see what she actually did in the ring. That's a real downside to the pre-tape shows. The tape shows have its pros, such as cinematic matches and things like that. But as Liv pointed out to us all, it definitely has some cons as well of making superstars feel horrible about their spots being removed from the final versions of the show. So where does Liv Morgan go from here? Like we mentioned before, it does look like we're in really early stages of Liv possibly reuniting with Ruby. But of course, Liv is not going to rejoin Ruby just like that out of nowhere, especially after everything Ruby has said over the past few months. If Ruby wants to get on Liv's good side again, I think her actions are going to have to speak louder than her words. Ruby is going to have to save Liv Morgan from an attack or help her secure a win, and that will really make Liv open up her eyes about Ruby. Maybe Liv is about to get attacked by Natalya and Lana, but Ruby Riott comes in to the rescue and saves her. Ruby has to do something like that to really show Liv that she's serious. Then from there on, we could possibly see them go after Lana and Natalya and pick up some momentum in the tag team division. Who knows? Maybe Liv and Ruby could be legit contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championships. We'll have to see how it all plays out. What are your thoughts on Liv Morgan's reveal about what WWE did to her? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.